Hey, that didn't start. Yeah, there we go. Good evening and welcome to another Biddle. Today is Saturday, the 20th of June, 2020. Now I just gotta find where to unmute everybody. Huh. I think you can all unmute yourselves.
Yep, that we can.
Good evening, everybody. How are y'all doing?
Hello, everybody.
Hello, world.
Alrighty. Not been the smoothest transition, but hey, here we are.
It worked. That's all that counts.
It was fantastic. Dan, it was fantastic.
Yes.
Who's gonna know?
Those two thumbs downs is not for your transition.
All right. Hey, so you probably have noticed that I am not Rocco, but I'm going to attempt to play him on YouTube. So there we go.
Okay.
Good evening, Joe. How are you? And I guess first up, we've got to talk about our distro discussion. And we did Ubuntu DDE Remix, which is the deep end desktop. So before we get to everybody else, what did you think?
Where to begin? I went through a plethora of emotions this week with DDE. I started with my XPS. I thought, okay, I'm going to throw this on the laptop. I'm going to work with it throughout the week. And immediately out of the gate, got stuck in a login loop with LightDM. And I go, oh, God. Okay. All right. I did figure it out. I had to disable the NVIDIA drivers and then go with the Nouveau drivers. So I got in and okay. And I noticed right away it ran a little clunkier with the Nouveau. I mean, it's just what it is. So then I thought, okay, let's take NVIDIA out of the stack. Went to the desktop running all AMD, got the Radeon video card going, and LightDM crashed every boot for me. So I finally I said, okay, I don't want LightDM to be representation of this distro because it may not be deepen. That's the problem. Maybe it's LightDM. So I ripped out the greeter and threw in just the Unity greeter and got me in. Everything's working great. And then I was able to actually play with it. But boy, that was a barrier to entry for an Ubuntu-based distro to go through. Once I got in, it's pretty. It's there's a lot of neat little things they've done. Something that took me 10 minutes of Googling, which I don't think should take 10 minutes of Googling, but it did take, was to change to the 24 hour to 12 hour. You have to right click on the clock. It's not in the settings anywhere.
Oh,
you can only right click on the clock and switch to 12 hour. Interesting. So so there were things like that. But all in all, I enjoyed being in it. It was very familiar because I'm on Pop. I like GNOME. So it was familiar. The settings, I think that's neat where they're trying to go with the settings, kind of differentiate themselves a little bit. There were a few issues. Dan, you and I talked about firing up Steam, getting games to run. So I thought I was bypassing the problem, and I didn't. I still had to go in and enable 32-bit and all that. But all in all, I started playing with it a little more. I'm going to keep it around another couple of days because I really shorted myself earlier in the week by just not getting it up and running on the laptop. But now, I'm sure it's got I need to find out a little more on the use case. I know, Nate, I'm curious to hear about your issues you ran into with the virtual desktops and all that, popping back and forth. But they've obviously put a lot of work into it. It's good looking. There's a lot to work with there. I'm excited to see what it looks like a year from now as they put more polish and just fine tune some of the things, but some good ideas.
Yeah, I think you're totally right there. I think there's a lot of work in a short amount of time to actually get this, launched for the 2004 release. So I don't want to slight anything there for sure. There's a couple of things that need some work, I guess. But and like you mentioned, Steam. Yeah, I had a problem with Steam. Couldn't get Steam going without enabling the 32-bit. So that wasn't there out of the gate. But once I did that, it worked fine. So I was good with that. So, and it is very beautiful.
So the Old Republic going.
Yeah, it's very beautiful looking, and there's a lot of nice looking features there. So that was pretty great.
Yeah.
Certainly, anybody else that wants to get in the discussion, throw your hand up, and we'll get to you. And as it's been mentioned in the chat here, yeah, there might be some stuttering going on. I don't know if that's me or my internet. I mean, I don't normally do this, so you know, we may have to live with a little bit. So sorry about that, but we'll do the best we can. So yeah, anybody else wants to jump in on Deepin, go right ahead. Looks like Dave Jones. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing, everyone?
Doing well.
I'll have to say that Joe had a lot more patience than I did with Deepin. Had a few issues. First of all, the first time I tried to install it onto my laptop that I use to to test my distros, Calamari's crashed halfway into it, so I had to start it all over. Made sure it worked the second time, and I was able to get in. And you're right, it's a beautiful looking desktop. I can't wait until it gets fully worked out and see it running, because it was my first time using Deepin, the desktop environment, and it was really, really beautiful. But there was these little things that just kept actually cut my short of it. The first thing was I kept on having little crashes, such as I would try to go into the settings menu, and I would change a few of the settings, but then I wasn't able to get it to close, and I would actually have to log out and log back in to close the settings menu. And then changing the themes, a lot of times I would click on, like, the theme that it's installed with is Deepin, and when I tried to start up Deepin Dark, it would click, but nothing would happen, nothing would change. So it was just a lot of little things like that, that just after like 15-20 minutes, it's like, I had enough. I'll wait until 2010 comes out and revisit it again.
Dave, were you in a VM or were you on bare metal?
Bare metal. I
Bare
installed
metal.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Just curious.
Yeah, I do know that they're working on getting the V20 of the Deepin desktop ready for 2010 as well. So that will also be nice to see. So yeah, you're right. So 2010 also looking very promising. So that's good. Let's see, Tony, I see you've got your hand up. Why don't you go ahead, sir?
Thanks. Yeah, I tried it. I tried it live first, and it seemed to work okay, but there was like a warning triangle in the dock at the bottom, which didn't seem to do anything. Couldn't tell what it was for and couldn't get rid of it. But once I installed it on the actual laptop fully, then that went away. Never saw it again, so it must be something to do with the live part. It worked fairly well. Most of the stuff I wanted to do with it, I could do. I'm not a gamer, so I didn't have any problems with Steam because I don't put Steam on. But one thing does annoy me with it, and it happens on every version of the Deepin desktop I've tried. When you put the dock to auto hide and you're on a full screen item and you go down to pull the dock up with the mouse, instead of being a smooth transition, it tends to judder, and then it'll do the same when it disappears. I don't think that's got anything to do with this version of Deepin, because most versions of Deepin all seem to do that for me. Whether it's something to do with the laptop or not, I don't know. But it will be good to see the 2010 version with the new Deepin version 20, because I've played around with the beta of that, and it does look quite nice. So yeah, I wish them all the best of luck with it, and I look forward to seeing what they come up with on the 2010 version.
Yeah, Tony, it wasn't just probably not just your laptop, because even the XPS I've got's a Core i7 with NVIDIA graphics, and it was a little chunky, like the movements, even in the menu. You know, in Ubuntu,
Yeah.
Gnome's pretty polished, Pop's pretty polished. It at least is smooth when you go into that full screen menu, but on here it was a little chunky. Like it just, yeah,
It's a deepin problem by the sound of it.
possibly. Version 20.
Yep. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for that, Tony. Thomas, why don't you go ahead, sir?
All right, so I'm gonna be really quick. I threw it in a VM like I normally do. I briefly tested it. The only real problem I had was it was a little bit laggy in just about everything. The big things I noticed were pulling up that app menu, and when I was switching the GTK theme, I could click it, and things would change, but in the settings menu, it wouldn't show that it had changed. And I would have to wait a couple minutes and it would finally change in the settings menu. Other than that, the only feedback I have to give, not for the deep-in Ubuntu flavor developers, but for the deep-in desktop environment developers, is you need to make it so that instead of having to set dark mode for each individual app, have a global dark mode setting in the settings menu. Having to go into each individual app can be extremely time consuming if you don't know what apps you need to do that for.
Or irritating.
It can be, yeah. But other than that, looks beautiful. 2048 runs great. I lost every time. Not for me, though.
Thanks, Thomas. Enjoyed your take. Barb, you there, Barb?
Okay, I did my usual running the live USB, and I really didn't get very far with it because when I went into the control center, there's the error I got. You can't see it, but it says application control center is closed unexpectedly. That shouldn't happen, and yet I could still go into the control center. So explain that to me. Yeah, it still goes in, but I got that error, and that was kind of weird. Also, it seemed to take, and this is on an old XPS 13, like circa 2014. It's only got 8 gig of RAM, but still, it's normally a pretty snappy machine for its age. It took forever to boot it up, and that really kind of surprised me. It was like several minutes. It was just going through a whole check of this, that, and the other thing. And another thing, they have three or four different ways you can download it. I ended up downloading it on the SourceForge website, because the first one, which was Mega or whatever, it was zipped, which was kind of weird.
Yeah.
And Ubuntu wouldn't open it.
Mm.
I mean, I'm running Ubuntu Mate, and it wouldn't open it because I wanted to put it on a USB, and it would not, no matter what I did. So I said, because I can open zip files normally, and so I thought that was kind of weird. So there might be just something with the way that one was set up, or maybe it's my machine.
I tend to use torrents.
I mean,
I don't mean to interrupt, but I tend to use the torrent because that does kind of verify when you download it. So that's, yeah.
I can try that next time.
Totally agree. And I'm old fashioned, so that's why I like torrents.
Cool.
Oh, okay.
And it just makes you that much cooler.
Yes.
Torrent it's just that much cool. Torrent's the way to go, guys. Come on, we're all hackers here. Come on, torrent. Let's do it.
So anyway, so that was my take on it. And I'm not a GNOME fan, so it would not be a distro that I would go to just because I'm not a GNOME fan.
Yeah. You know, I did notice with the live CD, and it actually sounds, who else was it? I think Tony was saying, it does, I say live CD, we got to burn that from our vocabulary. There's no CDs, but from the live disc, it does seem to have a little bit of quirks. I noticed the error. I think it was Tony that mentioned the error at the bottom, or maybe it was Thomas, but there was a,
Oh, I've got a little triangle down there too.
yeah, a little triangle, and yep, you go to the settings, and maybe there's some little things. So maybe they're not great on a live USB.
Yeah,
I
well,
think
it's
it
a
is a
work
little
in
tough
progress.
shake to give
Yeah.
them, hey, we're running a whole operating system on a live USB. And
Yeah.
but yeah, they have a little more quirks than your standard Ubuntu flavors. And this isn't a flavor, right? It's
Not
a
yet,
it's a
yep.
mix. It's still technically a mix. So it doesn't have the full blown, probably as much invested into it at this
Yeah,
time.
I know. I'm kind of spoiled anymore because of Ubuntu Mate. So
Isn't it?
yeah, that spoils you totally.
Yeah.
So I realize that. So I try to go in with an objective mind. But there are a couple things that I didn't get a chance to really use it, but that's as far as I got with it. But it looks nice. I got to say that it does look very, very nice.
A lot of polish on the theming is nice. I think if it can, if they can get everything to load properly.
Yeah, but I think I didn't get into light themes and dark themes, but from what Thomas said, they got to have an option that you can have a light theme or a dark theme, not have to go into every single program.
Yeah, that was a little tough. Yeah,
absolutely. That's a little much for users.
And I think you got to log out and log in almost on all of those changes. So some of them would change live. Some I had to log out, log back in.
Yeah.
Every time for me, they changed live.
Did they?
Yeah, every time for me.
Okay.
Now, it would be better if they just honored your system GTK theme, if that's an option.
Right. Well, maybe they'll hear this and be like, hey, you know what we didn't think of? That. And then they'll send you a card with a thank you, Thomas.
And how many people are really on this development team? Probably not that many people.
Not many. Yeah, you're right.
No.
Dan probably knows.
So, they're doing an awful lot with basically being extremely underpowered person-wise.
In a short amount of time, I'll add.
Oh, I see a kitten.
Dave. There's a
Mine are all mad at me right now.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Barbara.
You're welcome.
Jinda, what did you think?
I installed it on a hard drive and let it rip. And when I went to the Ubuntu, Play Store Center, it crashed more than once. I mean, it was trying to install something. I was like sitting there yelling at it. But on the right side, it is very, very polished. It's very nice. I understand exactly what they're trying to do. The way they have the settings that come up. I went to the Deepin website. They have all their Deepin-based software ready to go right there. You can download it as open source right there. It's Qt-based. If you didn't play with their screen capture tool, it's probably the best one I've ever used, hands down. I've never used a screen capture tool better. It was like a strange command though. It was like Control-Alt-A or something to get to work instead of like print screen. But other than that, it did like to crash on me. The computer is powerful enough, I think, but it had the same problems you guys did. But it's so nice, you kind of let it go. I really thought they did a really nice polished job on it. And like you said, they did it pretty quickly.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time in var/crash/ looking at errors. Well, the other thing is you kind of want to know, right? Like, so you get a crash, especially on a fresh system. You just boot into it and you got a crash. You're going, okay. All right, well, let me go see what this is. All right, let me see if it's something I can fix. That's why I ended up ripping out LightDM, because it kept crashing on. So I said, okay, well, let's change the motor. Let's change the tire instead of patching it. There's some crashes going on there for sure. Point
in that
release
case,
is
I think
coming
it's a
up
control arm. It's not a motor. It's a control arm you had to change out. That's
that
what's
was
causing it to,
controller.
Yeah.
Much better reference. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, Kai.
As many of you know, I work on Ubuntu Lumina. And so I can actually very much relate to the developer, which I think there's really one that actually puts most of the effort into the operating system. That's true for most of the current remixes, if not all. Most. Ubuntu Unity has a couple other contributors. But Ubuntu DDE. Personally, I couldn't get it running on hardware. I had to run it on live USB, which I don't actually do. But for some reason, it couldn't partition my drive to the whatever size gigabyte install I had it set to. It was I think it was 25, like a normal Ubuntu install. But it kept not wanting to install. But on the live disk, I have noticed there was lots of bugs, and I do want to say, however, that the developer is trying their hardest, especially with there really only being one of them. I think it's very much like my situation where they have a couple, like I think they have the hosting services set up, but everything else is pretty much on one, maybe 2 or 3 people for the majority of it.
Yep, I'll agree with that. And I, you know, given the small team, it's impressive. I mean, it's definitely come a long way. So, yeah, hats off, definitely.
Very good. Thanks, Kai. Colin, I'm curious to hear. What do we got?
Is my sound working first off?
Good.
Am I sounding okay?
Yep.
All right, that's good. Did we have a different link this week? So I couldn't get in under the normal link.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have no Rocco this week.
So we don't have a Rocco this week.
You have
yes, I pinged him. He's in hospital. So
yeah. So the Big Daddy.
So get well.
Right. Yeah.
Get well, Rocco. If you're watching, I don't know if you're watching or not.
And
yes, he's probably asleep.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully.
For his sake.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've installed Deepin on the Toshiba laptop that's got no screen anymore, and I'm using a different screen for it. It seems to be running okay. It seems to be coming up with a lot of just slight little crashes here and there, which is a few people have spoken about already. I don't know how many people have because I was struggling to get into the room. But that sounds like that might be happening to a few people.
Everybody so far, I think.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Yep. One thing I noticed it's got in there is a laptop mode tools configuration. I don't know if anyone's seen that. That was a interesting little tool there to engage a few things regarding laptops. Maybe it's covering some errors that laptops normally have. I'm not sure, but I found that quite an interesting piece. And like Thomas, 2048 works well.
Yeah.
I lost as well.
Yeah.
But I was expecting actually the newer desktop. So I thought maybe after an update, the new desktop come in. But I get confused with the Deepin desktops because this one is, the new one is 20, is it?
Yeah, the new one is 20. This one's 15, I think, 15.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so the new one must be called 20, I think.
It
I
is.
think they've changed it.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
So that'll be...
It seems to... Sorry, Dan, yep.
No, I'm just saying that'll be coming in 2010. They'll have that. You'll see that there.
Okay, yep. So I don't know how much time this small group had to get this up and running, but it seems to be working right. I do agree with the fact that it seems a little bit sluggish, which is what somebody said, and seems a bit slower than normal. So I suppose there's just a lot of work to be done. Deepin is Deepin at the end of the day. I look for, what little things they're adding in, which I've only found so far was that laptop thing. So, but overall, I've set up my bind mounts and everything, and that all seems to be working well. So I've had no errors with that. Installed Google Chrome, that's working all right. So, and at the end of the day, it's a typical polished Deepin desktop, and I think they've just got a few things to sort out on the back end. So I think it's running okay so far, besides the little errors.
Yeah. I mean,
usable.
A little. I mean, it's this close. I think a little polish, and it's there, right? And so another cycle, and we'll see a big difference, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's the case with most of the. I mean, like you've got the Cinnamon Remix, and now the Deepin, and you've got quite a few coming through, and the Lumina one as well. So there's a few things coming through. So and obviously these people are, just trying to get into the Ubuntu arena and trying very hard. So good luck to them. Kudos. I think they're doing all right so far. It's not a disaster anyway.
Yep.
Let's put it that way.
I'll agree with that. Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I did notice, and it made me think of you, Colin, was the wallpaper switcher. And so, that's one of the most beautiful things in Deepin. So
I do like the wallpaper switcher, and the only one who comes close to that, to be honest, is Markulu Linux. He uses the variety tool, which and I like that because it gets the window out of the way, so you can actually see what the wallpaper looks like.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice if a few other desktops could adopt that wallpaper changer. It's quite nice, but the Deepin one is nice, I must say. Yeah, that's one of the good features.
Yep.
Yeah, they've definitely got a lot of neat little tools. You mentioned the laptop. I wanted to dig into that more until I had to move off the laptop to the desktop. But yeah, they've got a lot of neat little just the tools. I'm going to call them that. They're little things that make your life a little easier as you're going through. But you gotta kind of dig for them. One of the crashes I had, I think they have a welcome, but it crashed because one of the apps I was looking at that crashed was like the welcome. It said welcome crash. I think it's in there.
No, I haven't seen a welcome screen.
Yeah, I never got to see it if there was. I don't know, but it said it was crashing. So I'm not sure. Maybe they just painted over Ubuntu's. I'm not sure, but that would be nice to point you to those little tools to set apart.
Well, that's the thing. I must say, like when I look at the Cinnamon, and like the Cinnamon desktop had the desktop changer, and that was quite a neat little tool. So, I mean, we all know the Cinnamon desktop, the GNOME desktop, the Deepin desktop. What I do look for is what they bring to the party as far as little tools and little extras that might make people's life easier, like you said. Mm-hmm. Because a desktop is a desktop at the end of the day, but I like to see what constructive things they can bring to that desktop that might be interesting, and also give people the incentive to possibly use it because of this and that and little extras they throw in. So yeah, try to look for.
Good stuff. All right, let's turn it over to Nate.
Yes. So when I went to the site to download it, I like to look at the website. It's kind of the face of a distribution or whatever project. It kind of some are just thrown together, which is fine. Some people don't care about the pretty face. And I noticed, like, right in the very beginning, you have some marketing stuff that they marketing information they put. They say Ubuntu DDE, powerful Ubuntu with the most beautiful desktop environment. So for me, that immediately ratcheted up my expectations to like 11, and I only go up to 10 normally. So I was expecting something extremely beautiful and that'll just blow my socks off. So I prepped my shoes to make sure my socks could actually effectively blow off and no one would get hurt. So I installed it. Everything went fine. There weren't any problems installing it. I did choose the torrent to download because I'm old fashioned. I like to kind of contribute back into the node that the network effect of things and whatnot.
Give back.
Yeah. And to give back a little bit. It's almost basically nothing, but I can at least pretend like I'm contributing and whatnot. So I got with something called a friendly reminder. I installed in a VM. Typically my modus operandi is to use a VM first, and if I'm really compelled, then I'll take it to actual hardware because I'm really impatient and I kind of move around a lot, and this is just how I operate. And so I got what was called a friendly reminder, and it said that I had it detected use of virtual machines. So hey, cool. And it says it'll affect system performance. Totally get it. I understand, but I'm a bit puzzled by the wording of friendly reminder. And also I went for the normal mode to enjoy a fast performance as opposed to the effects mode. Now the wording, a little bit funny, don't really care. I understand. Went for normal mode because, well, that makes sense. I want the fast experience, because I'm not, flashy. Flash is cool. I like it, but I don't necessarily need it. And that doesn't necessarily dictate my experience, whatever. I accept certain, let's say, experience hits because of the VM. So that's just where I start. Now, because it's based on Ubuntu, I know that I got pretty much everything that I need. And so let me just start off first with the really good, what I really appreciate. They didn't do any weirdness with not having like forbidding snaps or stopping Flatpak or crippling app image. They actually just let it all go. So good on you for that. Thank you for going forward there. the install was fine. Blah blah blah. What I did, I wasn't really blown away by its beauty. So I did get right out of the gate a system program problem detected. I kept getting this periodically, and I'm just gonna let that go because it's a slight hit, but it doesn't really it doesn't hurt my experience yet. I was immediately annoyed by the application launcher. I think it's the most obtuse application launcher in the Linux space. Any kind of application launcher that's like a mobile phone to me is garbage. However, there is a little button that makes it a normal usable menu, but it's still a mess. So you could, pretty much it's one of the worst I've ever experienced. It's basically bottom of the barrel. I do like the control center thing, sort of. It's unique. I like how it pops out. I think there's a Raven. Is that on Solus?
Yeah, it's like the Raven. Yep.
Yes, and I do like that. I think there's something very good about it. I don't know that I'm at a loss for words here, but
I like it too. I think it's handy, right? It's a handy location.
It's handy.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like your settings are right there, ready to go, because you only actually ever touch it maybe once a month.
Right.
But it's whatever. It's there. It's handy. It's not my preference. It's not. It's whatever. I think I like how it's laid out. I like the effect that they use. That's really good. The double click test. Did anybody do that? No. Okay. But they have like a little cat, little like a kawaii cat looking thing that kind of like when you double click on it comes up, then goes down. I figured Barb would have loved that. Like I was expecting. I immediately screamed Barb when I saw that, but apparently she didn't actually get into it, so that's okay. What I will say though, I don't really think it's okay. So because I went to normal mode, here's where I had a problem. The virtual desktops or whatever, they're called virtual desktops in Plasma.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That is broken if you go without the effects. So it would have been nice if there'd been a little warning, because I was kind of banging my head. Where do you get to the effects? How do you turn it back on? I kind of did a search, and it's under display in the control center. So that's where it is. But I was a little bit, it kind of rubbed me a little bit that they didn't, kind of warn you there. It's not a fast experience. It's a crippled experience. So they should probably say normal mode is a crippled experience. Sure. Or maybe fix that little bit. The virtual desktop thing was fine. Whatever. I'm not real picky on that. The theming. So I chose dark theme, and actually Thomas covered this. So you have to set the dark theming everywhere, but then it doesn't necessarily actually stick. So like, what's the point of having the theme in the control panel if it doesn't do jack or diddly? Yeah. So
what if we just had one theme and it was just deepen? Just leave it there.
Well, so I need a dark theme. Otherwise, I'm tossing it out immediately. It's a non-starter for me. Because I don't like the bright lights. Bright lights hurt my eyes. So that's why I don't like Google Docs, which is over here. But I have the screen turned down because I don't like it. Anyway, also, even after you changed whatever the file manager was that they used, I didn't really pay attention. I know it's
deep in files or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's rinky dinky, and the settings on it, like, it didn't actually go along with the dark theme either. So it was just kind of like, to me, it was kind of a mess. I know it's new. We shouldn't be too hard on it. Everything else worked. Like the codecs worked right out of the gate. You had your Office applications. That's really good. Appreciated that. I did install Kden Live just to see like how it would do with Qt applications, and
Really?
It's pretty much what you expect from a GTK desktop. Yeah, it works, but it doesn't have any themes in it, so it's gonna be whatever. I'm sure
it's more Qt than you think, because they're using Kwin.
Well, that's just the window manager.
I know, but it's got a lot more Qt than you think.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's surprising.
That's interesting to know. It is surprising. So anyway, I couldn't change the theme of that. I just had the light theme, and I also was annoyed. So I do like, there's some things about it. I do like how clean it is. I won't call it a pretty desktop. I'll call it a clean desktop. It's not the most beautiful experience I've ever had. I would say in the ranking of beautifulness, it's, I don't know, somewhere between Windows XP and Vista for me. It's not not great. It's very flat, but it's not bad. That's a bit of a slight, but I don't think Windows Vista or XP were that ugly. They were okay.
Right.
Or is it because it's blue?
No, I can deal with blue. We can okay with blue. It's not. Careful, Barb. Careful.
It's not green.
It's not OpenSUSE green.
It doesn't have a green chameleon.
I like the green, but I understand.
Looks good on
people can go with whatever they want. Yeah. So The let's see, let's say it wasn't a huge deal. Something else that I didn't really care for was when I changed the resolution to match the VM to my screen, it automatically logged me out, so I had to log back in. That was annoying. Whatever. I'll just call that a VMism. I won't take it. That's not a huge hit. But the biggest irritation for me was the normal and effects mode. That has to be clarified, fixed, and so forth. That was because the virtual desktop thing is kind of another deal killer for me. So like, would I switch to it? There's not a chance, but I don't think that should stop other people from trying it out, because I understand that I'm an edge case. I have certain things that I want, certain things that I need out of my computer, and if my desktop does not provide that, I move someplace else. That's what it is, and but that's me though. So I like things the way I like them, and just Deepin doesn't happen to fit pretty much any of my criteria really.
Yep.
So, but I think it's a great project. I hope they continue, and we'll see how it goes.
All right. No, I think that's fair. A couple other highlights for me that I didn't touch on is the multitasking view. I don't know if you tried that. And the other thing you can do is add that to a hot corner, so that you can just bump up to a corner and then you got the multitasking view, and that was pretty nice. So I do enjoy that. And the nice thing about that is if you have multiple virtual desktops, is it'll basically you look at all of them at the same time, so that's kind of nice. It's across all desktops. Anyway, I
have to say, Deepin's hot corners work pretty well, actually.
They do. They're excellent.
They're very convenient. Yeah.
Yep. No problems with that.
Nate, Dark Reader.
Yeah.
Dark Reader.
Dark Reader's
The
great.
extension.
Dark Reader is great.
Dark Reader is that for the Chrome thing?
It's for Chrome.
Chrome
Yep.
and Firefox.
And Firefox.
Yep. And
Thomas
Firefox.
Thomas turned us onto it, so my Google Doc is dark mode.
It's beautiful. So now there are some bugs with it. Some websites, they'll be a little bit slow to load. Some small little issues here and there, like the Wikipedia logo. The colors aren't correctly inverted.
Yeah.
But it's just itty bitty things here and there. It's not a big deal.
No, as far as
6% of the time, it's fine.
Yeah, as far as reading plain text, you're great.
That's it. Yeah, I did research. It's exactly 96.2.
Okay,
but it's somewhere in there. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty.
Well,
tight.
that 3.9%, 3.8%.
Right.
That might be a deal breaker for me.
It might.
Give it a try. If you don't like it, tell us why.
Yeah,
it works fine on the OpenSUSE website. Just letting you know.
Oh,
there you
see,
go.
Daniel's got the selling point right there. There you go.
Daniel, that's who it is. I was wondering, who is this other OpenSUSE guy? Like, I'm not alone anymore. Who's this other OpenSUSE guy?
No.
Daniel, we are e-friends, even if you don't know it.
Okay, great. I mean, I read your blog and stuff, so.
Oh, I'm sorry. You probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, Nate, I do agree though. Normal mode does not mean like take away feature mode. That does seem weird that it would be called normal. So that would definitely be odd. To have it that way.
It's irritating. It's just irritating. Yeah.
Yeah, that right there makes me think of like, oh, we're just not going to have the pretty animations. We're not going to have maybe some other things like that. But
wobbly windows.
Take away features. Yeah, not take away features. So.
Right.
Good.
Like with Plasma, the when you turn off compositing, you don't lose features, you lose prettiness.
Yeah, whiz bang.
Right. But you lose whiz bang. There you go. Some whimsy. You lose some whimsy, but you have all of the functionality of the desktop, and so I do appreciate that.
All right, I think that's a fair assessment, Nate. I appreciate it. Kai, I see you have your hand up again. Please go ahead.
So the last gripes I really have about Ubuntu DDE are not really things they can fix themselves, as it's purely Deepin's fault as a desktop. First off, like Nate said, it's not the most beautiful desktop. I actually find it to be quite an ugly desktop environment, in my personal opinion. It's also extremely slow, and as another thing Nate said is that it's GTK based, which reminds me that GTK-based desktop environments are some of the worst I have dealt with. Half the time I can't even run them. For example, Ubuntu Mate, which actually used to be one of my favorite distributions of all time, can't run on my laptop. The entire screen just breaks on me. I have looked everywhere for a solution to it, but it just shatters. And GNOME is extremely slow, and Cinnamon has the same issues as Mate on my laptop currently. I'm not sure if it's the desktop environments themselves. I've gotten little to no answer, but then again, I didn't really bother to ask because I'm more find the solution myself kind of person. So
Yeah, so they do use, well, I mean, they all seem to use more resources, so that's probably got something to do with it. I will say that Deepin seems to use less than GNOME, but it's more than like Plasma
definitely
or
less than GNOME.
yeah, or it's
It's
probably
it's high mid range is where I would
yeah,
high to mid range.
probably on par with Cinnamon, pretty close to it anyway. So it's
I would
not
say a little bit above Pantheon, close to Cinnamon.
right. So it's not terrible, but
And-
you know, not the most resource.
But that makes
Yeah.
me ask the question: what is my competitive,
Right.
my compelling reason for using Deepin
Yeah.
when I have other GTK desktops that have more features? and
In
don't-
the
and
interest
have
of
maybe-
being accurate, it's not a GTK based desktop. They use both Qt and GTK in many areas of the system. So
Yeah,
like
it's a blend.
to just bunch it in with GTK is not only inaccurate, but it's just looking for an excuse.
Yeah,
Okay, how I usually deal with it is usually I look up how the window, like how they build the actual dock, especially is where I look, because that's where most desktop environments actually expand on their window manager, is the dock with that kind of stuff. Yes, Deepin uses both Qt and GTK, but the things that I use to classify, all last I checked, which was I think like a Deepin, an older version of Deepin, it's just the parts that matter to me that to decide is GTK.
all right. So
You're right. You're right. It's a blend.
it
It's
is a
pretty
blend.
heavy
There's a
blend.
lot of mixture there. So yeah, it's hard to say. Yeah.
Because like
Yeah,
there are
it's
certain
a pretty heavy
areas.
blend.
There are certain areas where it looks and feels like Qt type stuff. Because if you
Mhm,
don't
it
know
is.
and you look at a desktop environment, you can kind of tell by the feel and the way things look. You can make an educated guess. You may not know for sure because you can, if you put a lot of work into it, you can make GTK look like Qt or vice versa. But I thought it was a little bit of a blend.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't 100% sure though.
Mhm. All right. Anybody have anything else for Ubuntu DDE Remix?
All right. I guess I'll take my little take on it.
Sure.
So for all I know, story of DDE is pretty amazing, especially that I just don't typically wake up to my Twitter feed to see Ubuntu DDE has followed you. What? So anyways, I just sort of I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, oh wow. So anyways, I found out that was pretty cool. Just in general, the whole entire project, because the Deepin desktop, you have to actually package it, and it's from downstream. He somehow got into contact with the actual Deepin people. I didn't know they switched to a Debian base, so that makes Aaron, the developer, his situation a lot more easier. Pretty shocked to see how he managed to get with them, and they managed to make this happen, and I'm really glad it happened. So besides from the fact that, of course, it is very beautiful, and I'm very glad that there wasn't a lot of talk about any same bugs or issues that everyone will be talking about in the Telegram group, and I'm pretty glad that we all just enjoyed this distro as it really should be. I know that people are going to be asking for a Deepin V20 desktop. Well, let's be fair. We just need to wait for Deepin 20 to come out, and then it'll probably be in 20.10. And we don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know if Cinnamon 4.6 is going to be in the next version of UCR. Just because I don't know what's happening. But of course, this distro is young. It's pretty cool that the developer actually did reach out to me and ask what ISO builder we used, and I thought that was amazing. And we were really good, and I really love working with him. So besides from that, I just didn't have much to say about the physical distro because I also want to talk about the development cycle, which I thought is pretty amazing. And it sort of sucks when you only have like 1 or 2 people to really help you out, which I'm in a similar situation. But just like I guess 1 or 2 extra people, I'm somehow finding my way. But I thought that was great. And if I want to make any comments about Ubuntu DDE, sure. So of course, when you boot up, I'm familiar with Deepin. I actually personally love it. I just didn't want to deal with the pain of packaging it for downstream Ubuntu or upstream, whatever. Of course, seeing it always was amazing because he was able to carry over everything. And of course, I retweeted it on the official UC account, and then the news articles got the attention, which I thought was amazing. And it really shows how amazing the Ubuntu philosophy can spread. So, besides from that, he really did a great job with the wallpaper. No one really talked about it, but in the Ubuntu discourse community, the official Ubuntu discourse, they were people were remixing the 20.04 long-term service local fossil wallpaper, and I made a few, and there's a few other cool ones, and it's pretty amazing out there. I think it's pretty cool. So if you haven't checked it out, go check out the Ubuntu community discourse because it's a locked thread now, but it is pretty cool. So I strongly suggest you all check it out. So I thought that was amazing. He took the philosophy of Ubuntu DDE very cool. He didn't really use the term remix much, which was, fine. Of course, little mistakes, but for a first release, it all makes sense. Okay, I think I'm talking a little bit too much, so let's do a quick speed round of everything else. Yeah, that's me, I'm sorry. Calamaris, pretty great. I actually learned to actually be smart with calamaris, and I learned how to actually use it a little bit more, thanks to Aaron. He did a great job, and he actually followed a lot of what we were doing, which I kind of laughed at a little, but that was pretty cool. Anyways, I rebooted. He had a Plymouth boot screen, which kind of surprised me because we don't have one yet, a UCR, which we will in 20.10, assuming that we can get some.
Josh, no more UCR talk. Come on, man.
He's kidding, but yeah, go ahead.
But anyways, he had a Plymouth theme very nicely, and it honestly is pretty cool when you're hooking it up to the TV, and like some people did on Twitter, just seeing it's pretty nice. And what I also really loved is that with the community, the grub theme then came along, which is pretty nice. Okay, so anyways, because some people are not letting me talk a little more, so let's just finish this up real quick. Desktop environment is great. I found a bunch of cool hidden features and small little tidbits that, of course, you'll pick up on the ground. And otherwise, as a desktop for itself, it's pretty excellent the way how, in just a few months, it was a bumpy start because with this desktop and graphics and everything, it is very bumpy. And I know that it will take a long time if it's hard to deal with such a crazy desktop and when it's not already packaged for you. And I really hope I can do more with Aaron. But honestly, for a great job of that he's done, I think we should all, of course, give a thanks to Aaron and a few other people whose names are, I can't remember, the Deepin desktop team, who really did a great job. And I'm really glad that we can all, and that we all enjoyed this desktop environment as much as I did. And I hope you guys did too. All right, that's enough talking. Goodbye.
Well, thank you, Joshua. I appreciate your insight there. And I will say this. I have really enjoyed watching all of the remixes in this release. Some of them have been from, come out of nowhere in a short amount of time. So I'm enjoying watching all the activity, and not just within their own flavor or remix, spread out all over all of Ubuntu. So that's pretty great. Vince, good to see you, and I see you have your hand up, so go right ahead.
Hey Dan, I missed you guys the last couple of weeks. I've just got a question. Is this the first official release of Ubuntu DDE?
Yes.
Sorry if I missed it earlier.
No, it is.
Yeah. So I mean, yes, it does have some bugs, and yes, it does, look like it still needs a little bit of work. But man,
I know.
Does it look mighty impressive? Seriously, I was thinking to myself when I installed it and booted it up. I mean, because I was a bit unfamiliar with Deepin going into this. I probably only tried it for like the best part of maybe 10 minutes previously, the Deepin desktop. But I found it so polished, and to me, it looks like a bit of a cross between Budgie and what was I thinking of? I had the idea in my head, but now I've lost it. Well, the side panel is I think a very, very nice modern implementation of the settings feature. Except that for me, it just didn't quite have enough customizability. It did bug out for me when I tried to change it to a dark theme.
Yeah.
But I think for such a small team, and maybe if it's just a single developer, I think the work that's gone into this release as its first official release is fantastic. And I mean, we've just come off looking at all the official flavors that have had years and years and years of bug fixing and development behind them. And this one to come out and just look so good out of the box, I think that's just fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep it around. I didn't get a chance to really, because when I did get bugs and crashes, some of the dialog boxes just didn't have any information in them, and I didn't get time to really dig into it too much. But I might keep it around and see if I can submit some reports and see what happens there. So yeah, there are my thoughts.
Yeah, thanks, Vince. I completely agree. Yep, come a long way in a short amount of time. I said that a couple times tonight, and I fully believe that. Yeah, it's definitely, for as little as has been around, is very solid, honestly. So I'm looking forward to it.
The changing of the dark mode in the individual applications, I actually quite like that, because some applications you do want to have a bit of lightness about it and some dark. So, but that's inherently a Deepin thing anyway, isn't it? It's nothing to do with.
I think so. Yes.
Deepin, yeah, because I've tried Deepin many times, and that's always been a thing. So yeah, trying to customize fully across the global desktop is always going to be an issue, and always has been an issue in Deepin, as far as my experience is concerned anyway. So
yeah, it is, Colin, it's to that point, it's kind of interesting too. I think a lot of us come into these, I know I do, we probably have our favorites. Maybe it's OpenSUSE, maybe it's Pop, maybe whatever it is. And then we compare everything else to that functionality, that feature set, the way it works, and this, this and that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what we should do. That's probably why we ended up on the one we love, that we use as our dailies. But it doesn't mean that it's designed wrong or that it's not working. Maybe that is the design functionality. There may, in fact, be an audience for that. We may not be that audience,
right?
But
That's
there may,
fair.
in fact, be an audience for that. And so it's good to. I love the way even Nate said it. Like, it's not my favorite, but I got an open mind about it. I want to look at it and see what it is and check it out. And that's what we're doing here is just checking stuff out and seeing what it is. I don't think anybody could pass full-blown judgment after a week of if that, none of us would be in Linux. Probably we'd all have gone back to wherever we started, possibly, so it's good. This is great conversation. Hopefully that the guys that are working on the flavor or the remix will,
You've got to change your mindset, I think, when you use a different desktop. I mean, when I first started using Deepin, I was terribly frustrated because I was I used to I want to theme it this way. This is the way I like it. And, couldn't do it because it just wouldn't allow you to do it. But when you understand the way a desktop works, then you got to change the way you do things to adjust to that desktop. Otherwise, you're just going to say it's rubbish straight off the bat. But it's not. It's just different, right? And that's the thing. And when you mention wallpaper, you're talking about the main wallpaper on the
desktop.
Okay, yeah.
It's got that little ribbon down at the bottom that you can spin, spin the wallpapers, if you will, and it's just kind of nice.
I like the wallpaper they've done with the focal fossa as well.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of them, that looks quite nice as well.
It does.
I like that.
Yep.
wallpaper game is strong.
Yeah.
2004.
Yep.
Well, I mean, if you build a house and you don't paint the inside, it's not going to look too good, is it? So, I mean, a lot of people say we make a big fuss over wallpapers, but I mean, at the end of the day, a paint job always looks good on something, doesn't it?
Yep.
Well, and it's part of what Linux, I think, is initially was missing, right? It was functionality over form. It was, yep, this is going to work. This is great. It's solid. It's reliable. And then now they are working on a little bit of polish. I mean, KDE is like become amazing. And even this last release they did, was it 0.19?
Yeah, 5.19.
They even said like, hey, we're just going to tweak. We're just going to keep adjusting, refining, and making these desktops great. So this is all good growth.
It's a great time to be in Linux, desktop Linux.
It's the year of the Linux desktop again.
Well, it might be for you.
Be a nerd.
Yeah.
Every year is the year of the Linux desktop.
Every
Come on,
year.
guys. Every
All of
year.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
2004. Actually.
Joe, pick a desktop, any desktop.
Yep. All right, Kai, I see you've got your hand up again. Go right ahead. Jump right in.
So actually, back in what Joshua was saying earlier with DDE's packaging, I kind of forgot that they actually went with packaging themselves, which I did remember a separate PPA existing previously, but I forgot it wasn't in the official repos yet. And I can actually very much relate myself to packaging the desktop environment myself. Lumina has been a little bit of a pain recently to repackage and ship to a new PPA, which struggles because, I don't know, should have kept one PPA in the first place, but I didn't.
It's a lot of work. I get it.
Yeah, I guess. But like Deepin is a large desktop environment, and I actually tried packaging 2 different desktop environments, which I would put Deepin somewhere in the middle, which is Lumina, which is a lot of work, and Pantheon, which I actually never successfully packaged. Joshua will possibly tell you the story one day. I know he insults me a lot about it. But yeah, neither of the desktops I package are easy to do so. They are far from it, and I am actually really proud
packaging
of
is a strange beast anyway. So
it
there's
is.
that. You don't have that going for you.
That too. But I can say that I'm proud of Aaron and whoever helped with packaging the actual desktop environment so well, because even when I tried self-packaging the Deepin desktop environment once, it was a nightmare and a half. I don't remember how I did it, but I tried and failed miserably.
No, Aaron's done a great job. It's definitely it's showing. So it's great. All right, I think that's our take on Ubuntu DDE Remix. Our thanks to the developers and Aaron, everybody that's involved. Thank you very much for your hard work on that, and we look forward to subsequent releases there. And yeah, it's pretty exciting. Great to see. Okay, before we move on to the second hour of the show, I'll open it up to anybody that has anything they want to bring up.
Just saying that because I know that it's actually coming up really fast. If by the time y'all's test Ubuntu Lumina, trust me, I am not. I have had a lot of struggles recently with like 5 of the same issues, which causes installation problems, and I just wanted to make sure y'all's know that before it happens, because I think it's in about we announce it next week.
3 weeks.
July 4th.
3 weeks?
Oh,
We'll
yeah,
announce it July 4th.
Yeah.
So
Will not. Okay, so that actually is not that bad.
No,
Joshua's favorite coming up next.
Listen, we'll take it easy on you, I promise.
Yeah.
Okay, I know you're going to take it easy on me, but I just wanted to make sure that the information was out there.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yes. So, yeah, before we move on, I will say that next challenge or next distro discussion that we have is Ubuntu Cinnamon Remix. So look forward to that one. That one should be great. Right, Joshua?
Ooh. Yep.
All right. Cool.
Totally excited. Well,
I'm excited. It's a good looking thing.
I can hear that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Anybody have anything else that they want to bring up?
Yeah, I will, Dan.
Sure, go ahead.
Rocco was telling me last week, Ventoy, you need to try it. He was right. I love it. It's awesome.
And I noticed that Colin put out a video on Ventoy, so go check that
Yes,
out.
I
Go check
did.
out Colin's
I couldn't
channel.
help myself.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
No, it
Yeah,
really.
it's good.
I've been using it, and it's pretty fantastic. And
I struggled. I
Yeah.
struggled for the longest time to get Windows and Linux and a few other things to boot on the same USB stick, and it's never easy. This
No.
thing just makes it so easy. It's not funny. So,
Uh,
yeah, kudos to those guys. They've done a great job.
Absolutely, and even just getting writing one USB with no other desktops or anything with Windows on it can be a challenge coming from Linux. So
Absolutely, because I did a video on Woe USB, and that
Yep.
video people sort of complain it doesn't work. I've
Nope.
been back to Woe USB, and I can't get it to work now.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? There's always an issue. With things
Absolutely.
like that.
And if you need that, then so Ventoy is a great tool. I highly recommend. Highly recommend.
It's great. I just pulled it. I've got 14 ISOs on here, Windows included.
I need to get a bigger disk so I can get more on there.
Does it actually work for Windows?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
That's impressive because nothing I've found on Linux will work with Windows.
Use Ventoy.
Like you have to use
Absolutely.
Windows to make
And
Windows.
it's,
I know.
It's literally drag and drop.
Drag and drop.
your ISO on, and you're set.
Drag it right over. There it
That
is.
is
Don't have to
impressive.
do
I'm gonna have to try this out
horrible
now.
tutorials.
Yeah.
It's an awesome feature. It's a game changer to me. It's awesome. I tried booting Windows 7. Sorry. I
ahead,
tried
MC.
booting Windows 7. Windows 7 doesn't boot in EFI, right? I don't think. Does
don't
it?
think so.
I think it's a legacy only. That's probably why that didn't boot.
Yeah, I don't think it's UEFI.
Yeah, it's legacy only.
Yep.
Maybe I can stop wasting an entire 16 gigabyte USB 3 flash drive for a single ISO at a time.
Yeah, I've got,
absolutely. That's the benefit.
This is
Yeah.
a 256 gig flash drive, so I've got space.
Nice.
During the last biddle, when I wasn't paying attention, which often happens, I was on eBay and I ordered 2 of these 2 terabyte flash drives.
2
So I now
terabyte?
have- Yes.
Wow.
Listen, I have problems. Okay, I have problems. I admit.
Are
And
you
this
sure
is my
those are 2
solution to my
terabyte?
problem.
No, who makes them? I am ordering it now. Where?
Are you sure those are 2 terabyte?
I just
Chinese
there's 2 terabyte right
terabytes.
here on the label.
It's
Is it made of that rare element called Chinesium?
Chinesium.
Unobtainium.
Unobtainium. Yeah.
I'm actually going to test these now.
Yes.
I'm
Have
just-
you put them in
Find out.
anything yet?
Yes.
That's
Just like
awesome
a
though.
DD
That,
them
2
and see
terabytes.
how
That's
they
The
awesome.
actually
NSA
are.
shows up at your house after you put that in. We'll know.
There is a I did an article, not to plug myself, but I'm going to, but fight flash fraud. And so before I do anything with any flash media, I always run a little thing basically to check to make sure the flash is good. And
Sure.
if it's not, guess who's on the phone? Well, guess who's on the emails?
Right.
And so I'll return it. So we'll find out.
Well, that's cool.
So where did you get this? You're not going to tell us.
eBay.
Oh, eBay. Mm.
eBay. That's where I buy all my garbage. I mean stuff. All my stuff.
So everybody buys all their garbage. Yeah.
So MC wanted to get in there. Go ahead, MC.
No, I was just saying, as far as the Ventoy goes, yeah, it's beautiful. And like you said, I was telling Joe, I got 32 different distros on my 240 gigabyte SSD external drive that I
Such
use.
a one-upper.
It's a little snappy.
I came in hot with 13, and you're like, yeah, I got 743 distros loaded up. Yeah.
I've got every version of Linux distro.
I just started going down distro to distro watch and just grab that one, grab that one. Grab
All
that
300 of them, right? Yeah, just boom, right on there.
What the heck?
No, I think it's really cool, and yeah, I definitely need a bigger USB tool so that I can get more distros on there. Super excited.
I see them, Nate. USB 3.0 flash drives, eBay, $13, 2 terabytes.
Ah, that's cheap.
I'm
That's
calling
insane.
BS for something
Yeah.
that high capacity at USB 3.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you, Thomas.
Yeah,
I'm just
I'll
saying,
look it up on an
if it's on
Amazon
the
for-
internet, it's obviously real. Okay.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Well, and
obviously.
at
If you see it on
13
Facebook, it's fact.
They're
Wow.
$85 on for a 1 terabyte
Right.
3.0 flash drive on Amazon.
This one's on Walmart.com.
Well, at $13, it's almost worth the chance because even if you only get half of it, that's still pretty good.
Look,
Yeah.
yes,
That's exactly the way I see it.
Even
Yes,
if you
if-
get
even
like
if it's like-
32 gigs, it's not bad.
even if you
I
get
know.
10 uses out of it,
Yeah.
whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
I've got a dozen of the 32 gigabyte flash drive, so
Yeah, I've got a bunch of 16s and I've got some 32s. But yeah, no, I wanna fill them all up.
and I have
Yeah.
a USB to SATA drive cable, so I can plug in any SATA hard drive.
Yeah,
make
those
a
are cool.
USB drive.
Yep.
So I mean, I'm probably gonna throw that Ventoy on a old laptop hard drive I have kicking in a drawer. There's like I think it's like I want to say it's like a 500 gigabyte or something like that drive. Just use that.
Yep.
I just got my M.2 NVMe to USB-C for my Raspberry Pi.
There you
So
go.
that's next. Yeah, NVMe's next. That's where we can do external NV. Oh, look at Vince.
Nice.
NVMe is nice. Let me
Oh, I
tell
have
you.
one sitting here.
Yeah, they're
I
great.
think it's
I
One
do.
Up
I
Joe
don't know
Day
where I
today.
put it.
It's One Up Joe Day. I'm just, you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna.
Yeah, I do have
I'm
mine.
Sorry, Joe.
You guys, I'm not.
I mean,
It's not
we
like
can
a-
do the one off if you
Or
want
you,
to.
like, bumping your
It's not got
microphone
500
again.
gig in it.
I know.
Wait,
I keep bumping it.
It's in the other room.
Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. But moving down the list, it looks like Joe has got some news on some stuff here. So go ahead, Joe.
Sure. Yeah, just picking through some cool stuff. This segment's especially for Nate, for GNOME.
Yeah.
GNOME 3.38. Anyways, a lot of advancements. It looks like they're working on for 3.38, which should land in 2010. I don't know if any of you, Popey, or not Popey, Wimpy was talking about it a little bit this week on Ubuntu podcast, but yeah, they're fixing some of the smoothness with NVIDIA drivers, which is going to be nice. But the big get, I think, because even regardless whether you're NVIDIA and AMD, is they're working on the latency overall. So I don't know if you've run GNOME in a VM, and I know it lags a little bit here and there, and they're really working hard on that. So that was a big as far as I was going. Also better graphics for the Intel 9th gen integrated graphics as well, the 630. So that's good. Again, little refinements. I don't know. That was big news to me, or good news to me, I should say, especially with all the Ubuntu installs out there. Anybody else hear anything on that, or impact them in any way, or everybody hears XFC?
Well, I'm not a
Yeah,
huge
damn.
GNOME fan, but you know,
Right.
I think it's cool. And, you know, I love to see things progress like that, right? And I do. All right, so I do have a couple VMs around, and that has always been an annoyance, I guess, if you will, that it does lag like that, because I need it for a couple of things. So I do keep it around, and yeah, so that would be great if they improve some performance there.
I don't really use GNOME myself, but I do think I keep up with it because I have all three of my siblings are on Pop OS, and I always recommend new users to go to Pop OS. So, you know, should probably know what's going on with that particular desktop environment that they use.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll stay on the baby's milk. It's good. I mean, it's I'll stay on Pop. It works for me every time. But well, just think about GNOME and the way it's advanced over the last few years. I know, you know, two years ago, I mean, it was really hit hard for, you know, oh, the overhead so much. Oh, it's tough to run. It's not as smooth. It's not as quick. But they have really made some advancements, and they're continuing to push the envelope there to improve all that. So
yeah, very cool.
Good on them.
Maybe this week you guys have noticed a couple of times that there's been a Linus Tech Tips video linked about on gaming on Linux. I thought it was a nicely done video. I don't know what you all think about that. So it'd be great to get some hot takes.
First, thanks Linus, and thanks Anthony.
Yeah.
Especially Anthony for, you know,
yes,
convincing Linus to do that.
Yes.
Seconded.
Yep. Yeah, it's always enjoyable to watch that. Yeah.
And maybe do more in the future.
It would be great if they didn't go a year in between, right? That's what
I
I'm
believe
thinking.
that they actually, when they did a build guide a little while ago,
Mhm.
and they did actually make notes for Linux, and whoever wrote it apparently was like, oh, well, there weren't Linux drivers for the motherboard on your website. That's because you don't need them. They're in the kernel, whatever. But at least they're trying. And
Yes.
I do believe they benchmark on both Windows and Linux nowadays.
Yep.
But I'm not sure.
They really should, to be honest, because a lot of times certain things will get different performance in Linux versus Windows. It depends on what you're doing.
Right. And they did call that out in the video. They said, some of the Linux games some of the games in Linux are actually better than they are in Windows. So that was nice to see. They called it kind of how it was. So that was pretty cool.
I really like the honesty in the video. Like they actually try to put it from an as objective as possible standpoint. The only problem I have with the video is I'm getting really annoyed with how many times it's being linked. I've seen it on Telegram. I've seen it on Telegram a total of 18 times on one channel.
I will agree with that. Yes, it may be a little overhyped, but it's been pretty great to see just the same.
Well, we get excited about stuff. Gets in the community, yeah. I mean, how many of us are on 5, 6 of the same channels in Telegram? But then there's some that aren't on. I know I'm guilty of it. I'll post something somewhere. I don't get any feedback. Okay, let me go see how these guys are doing over here. Post something in this one, and then you get a little feedback going, and so we're all in the same circle. So it's okay to be excited about
it. Is,
cool
and
stuff.
I know not everybody is like me and reads every single post,
right,
in every channel.
Well,
so.
I haven't seen this video, so can you send me a link?
Oh,
hey, let's put it in the bill.
If somebody could put that in the YouTube chat, that'd be great.
What would be great is that they started doing Linux distro reviews for gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, because maybe then Jogger OS, LTT?
Well, maybe.
Hey?
I know they did in the last video last year, they talked a little bit about distros, and they touched on it a little bit, like which ones are better and whatnot. So that was good. Like I said,
Colin, there's a link.
It would be great if they were a little closer in between, is what I'm thinking. Maybe not quite a year apart would be pretty great.
I remember there was a petition for like an Anthony's Linux show kind of thing.
Yeah.
But basically, I don't know if any of the LTT staff actually said anything about that, but there were a bunch of people on Reddit saying, look, that's like, 1, 2, 3% of their audience, something like that. And making videos costs money, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But it was great to see. All right. Joe, did you have anything else for us?
Yeah, I think so. Except I lost my page. I don't know what we're gonna do without Rocco.
I don't know. We're spinning our wheels, but that's okay.
We're getting we're doing it. We're giving it our best, guys. I just talked to him. He's feeling pretty good.
Yeah, good.
All right. Yeah. He's feeling good. He says hello to everyone. He's feeling
Hello, Rocco.
really good. He's feeling really good. So another thing was really cool. You guys know I dabble in the Pi, in
yes,
Raspberry Pi area, and this nice little Ubuntu appliance that's coming out that they're working on, or it's out. You can go get the images now.
Yeah, they got a bunch of
for
them.
the Raspberry Pi. Really slick stuff. I don't know if you've seen this, but like they've got I think they've got it in with let's see, Plex, AdGuard, Mosquito, Nextcloud, OpenHab. They're preset. They're ready to go. You download them, you flash it to the Pi, and you're done. It's like a one app type. I think they use Ubuntu Core, and it's for IoT devices. Really slick. And if you are a developer, it sounded like they're wanting people to come to them, and they'll help create these images or show you how and all of that, so that you have these kind of one-click deployment setups. Really cool stuff.
I think it's cool. Like those are some great uses for the Pi, I think. So I'm glad to see that. And it's, I think a lot of people struggle with different things, so it's nice to see that. So yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I think this is a natural direction. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Kai.
Sorry. Yeah.
I'm just waiting to see Ubuntu flavor specifically meant for these developed for IoT devices, something for Ubuntu, like Ubuntu Studio kind of deals, but like for IoT. I'm just waiting for Ubuntu VPN remix at this point.
Yeah.
No, this is based on
Exciting.
the core. So this is their IoT section. Like this is what they're focusing on there. So it's, it's I guess when I look at this, I think this is what, instead of everyone keeps trying to turn these ARM boards into a desktop and replace an x86 or a full-blown desktop, this is a natural location for them to go to. This is what they excel at. This is where they can be very useful. And Ubuntu seems to be leading the charge there.
ARM for desktop.
Also, setting up WireGuard is super easy. So you can probably just use the stock Ubuntu IoT, or like if you use, assuming you have this, I believe there's like a checkbox or a screen or something to set it up in pfSense or one of those guys. So it's not that difficult.
Yeah. I think it's for quick deployment, right? You just want to get it out there. I've got a Pi sitting over here. What am I going to do with that? I want to put AdGuard on it instead of me going through setting up, getting in the desktop, then going in and adding in all these things. I think it just makes it simple. But more use cases.
Yep, very cool. Neat. Anybody got anything else to bring up?
Open forum.
Yeah, throw it out there. I
could bring up something that nobody's going to care about.
Go ahead.
Well, I've already done that twice, Nate, so I beat you.
Okay. Well, all right. Then in that case, so my regular gig is I do design work. I'm a mechanical designer. I do things. I do whatever. Little. I don't want to get into details, but I make things that people buy.
Widgets.
And appliances.
Okay.
And one of the things that I struggled with for a long time in Linux is a good CAD application, just really anything. And FreeCAD, I want to say FreeCAD has been really, there's a lot of development happening on FreeCAD, a little bit more on the building information system, information management stuff, like for like building houses. So a lot more work being done there than on the mechanical side. But it didn't quite work for me. And I think I brought this up before, but Fusion 360 it's an Autodesk product, and it's a parametric modeler, and it works extremely, extremely well in Linux. I've been using it now for quite some time. I've been working on a video here. I'm demonstrating building something in Fusion 360 and then actually building it physically. So and I'm really excited. I'm going to kind of do I'm going to be doing some videos more along those lines, because I want to say, like, I can literally do everything I need to do now in life in Linux. It's beautiful, it's glorious, and it means that I'm not tied to any Windows anything unless I have to do taxes. And I got to fix that one yet too, but that's only once a year.
Yeah.
Does it work in Linux though?
No, I'm saying that's what kills me. Yeah, QuickBooks. QuickBooks is the bane of my
TurboTax
Windows
is what I
existence.
use.
Yeah.
Well, I think
TurboTax you can do
TurboTax.
web. Yeah.
You can do it on the web.
Yeah.
So as long as it's not complicated.
Oh, well.
It is.
Nah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work. Anyway, so Fusion 360 is actually, it's working really well. It's actually been getting better. Now it's using Lutris to run, so it's not officially supported by anything. There's a lot of, you got to do the wine tricks thing, and it's all automated. Like, it's pretty much automated. And I will say one little caveat on this: I do have, sometimes it won't install on some machines, and I don't know why. But on my primary machine, it works great, installs great. I can even have it use the DRI Prime to use my AMD GPU and everything, so I can actually utilize that as opposed to the Intel GPU, and that all works really well. It's smooth. The only issue that exists right now with it is just like when you do minimize it or even switch to another virtual desktop, you get like a little fragment that kind of hangs out. It's a wine issue, but if I'm CADing, I'm CADing. So that's the only issue right now that I see with it. And you can actually use that online as well too. But I don't like web apps. Web apps make me cry inside. So I can handle Electron, but not web apps. not like.
Gotcha.
It doesn't work for me.
I can,
So anyway,
I can agree with there on the web apps. I deal with those all day long for work.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of a sad thing, but so I'm using it on OpenSUSE Tumbleweed, and it's been a steady Eddie now. I've been doing some other development and other like ideas that I have to like make my life easier and release those designs on Thingiverse. So I just want to say that if you're going to do CAD and you want to do like actual parametric design, I'm not talking like Blender's not parametric. That's a totally different kind of CADing. But if you like, it's like actual parametric design where you have a model tree and an assembly tree and all these other things. Fusion 360 is fantastic. Also, if you're going to do like if you do a machine tool like for like computer aided machining, CAM, you can do CAM passes and everything. You can do all these different things. Actually, if you look up Fusion 360, there's a lot of makers out there on the YouTube space that use Fusion 360 regularly for their stuff, and to see that real high-end piece of software. I mean, it's a really high-end piece of software. It really is free for personal use, and I can use it in Linux. Is such a glorious thing, and I could pretty much gush about it for like the next like 3 hours, but I'm going to stop.
All right, it's pretty great. It's awesome.
Did it require you to be Tumbleweed's rolling, right? Does it matter, or does it need to be more up to date? Do you know if that matters at all?
I'm not sure because I don't run on anything but Tumbleweed. I do know that there are some like Yannick. We all know Yannick, everybody's favorite French guy from Switzerland who trolls everybody. I mean, in the nicest possible way in case he listens to this. He's actually one that uses it. He primarily uses it on Ubuntu, and he uses it, I think, as Ubuntu.
Yeah.
But he uses it, and so it should be. I imagine it's fine. I see most people complain, like if there's an issue, I see them usually running Ubuntu. So not saying that it doesn't work, but like I think most people probably use Ubuntu if anything. So I would suspect that it would work on Pop or whatever, maybe. But yeah, no, it's really great, and it doesn't take up that. It's a little processor intensive.
Oh, sure.
But it doesn't take up that much memory. The footprint's not as bad as you might think. It does lack some features I would like. And if I told you I have not requested those features, I'd be lying to you. But it does work quite well. So if you have any questions like why parametric modeling, we can probably don't care. But that's what I do, and it's really exciting for me right now.
That's cool.
I'm definitely curious. So what's the difference then? Ignorance 101 right here, but
Totally.
I used to do a little CAD, mechanical drawing, stuff like that. So what's the difference between like AutoCAD and Fusion 360? Like what's the fundamental
so
difference?
AutoCAD is primarily 2D based, and it has no outside of hitting undo, there's no real way to actually undo something. So let's say you want to change a shape. So like AutoCAD's 2D also, so it's kind of a separate thing. But like for a 3D model, let's say we're modeling a jar, and you want the jar to be 100 centimeters high, and let's say 50 centimeters in diameter. Not a very big jar, but you want to change it to accommodate a larger pickle. So you want to go to 70 centimeters wide. With a parametric modeler, you just have to go into the base feature and say the total outside diameter is going to be this, and all your other features will follow. So you don't have to redo the whole thing, but it adjusts mathematically. So you have to think about whatever you design, it in a geometric shapes and mathematical constraints. So that's how that works.
So is this a continuation of Autodesk, or is it a completely new product that they make? So I remember when I was working in
lots and lots of products.
Yeah. So the big thing they were pushing, take me back 20 plus years now, but when we were doing AutoCAD, and then we were going, Autodesk was developing this new product where I could literally design a chair, and I could say, hey, it's going to arrive in Miami at 3 p.m. and this is what it's going to look like in the room, because it had some shading and it could, configure all of that kind of stuff. And it was 3D and all of that. So it could take my 2D CAD, turn it into, a 3D drawing. So is this
that might have been Inventor 20 years ago? Would have been Inventor. And that's what my first 3D CAD modeler that I used. And I know they did have some rendering at the time. I don't know how good that was, because I never actually used that function of it. And Fusion 360, I don't know if it does. I think you probably do some renderings in there. I'm pretty sure. I don't recall. But you can do finite element analysis with it, which is very cool. So if you have a design, you want to be able to before you build it, you actually want to test the structural integrity of it, or like where the weak points are. You can actually run those tests on it. And if you need more computational power, you want to do more intensive computations on your design, you can actually buy credits from Autodesk and use their server pool there and have their computers run it much quicker. So because finite element analysis takes a long time to do, because you're doing a lot of work there. So there's a lot of really neat features built into this sucker here, and it's free for personal use.
Yeah, I'm trying to download it right now. Very cool.
Did I mention it runs in Linux?
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to download it because I'm already
runs-
consuming all of my bandwidth.
Yeah, please don't, Dan. Crash the whole stream.
So what I recommend is if you actually have Lutris already installed,
I do.
you can use you go to the Lutris whatever org, not com, whatever it is, and Lutris, and look for Fusion 360 on there, and then actually that will start Lutris up, and it'll do it'll pull down all the stuff you need to pull down, like kind of like a crossover Office does, crossover Linux, whatever it's called now, and it'll put it in a bottle and whatnot, and it works pretty well. But yeah, so if you, it's pretty great. So
very cool.
Cool.
Very cool.
All right. Well, thanks for that, Nate. Jinda, I see you've got your hand up.
Yeah,
jump
I
right
wanted
in.
to torture Nate. Hey,
Go ahead.
did it
Yes.
work with your 3D mouse? Did you
My
try it
3D
with the 3D mouse?
I don't like 3D mouses. Like
Oh,
the
okay.
Spaceballs.
Yeah, the 3D
Baseball
mouse
thing?
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I tried using this when I first got into CAD. You know, and, so that was about year 2000 or so. So about 5 years ago. I don't like the numbers if I start keep cranking it up. I could never get used to the mouse. So I kind of have I blame my time of playing the game Descent from like the 90s. So I have kind of a keyboard mouse driving way of doing things, and that's just how I like to work. And I find most CAD softwares can kind of grok with that as well. I mean, they're all, although I find it's like Fusion 360 and the CAD software I primarily use for work called Creo from PTC. That's a real expensive one. It's like 10 grand a year for a seat. So I'm not going to buy that. For me, that's not anywhere in my budget, like for the foreseeable future. The controls are exactly the opposite. So so when I go from CAD software to CAD software, I have to like flip my head and whatnot. And it's like I'm going from desktop to desktop. We talk about how we have to give a desktop a chance. And Colin really pushes that. Is he still on here? Or he jumped away? But you get used to a desktop. And for
he
me,
left.
I get really
He did.
it's too bad. I like it when he's here. For me, like I get really frustrated if I have to use a desktop in the way I don't like using, like if it forces me to use desktop in a certain way, I get really frustrated and I'll throw this away. But for whatever reason, if it's a CAD application, I'll like, okay, fine. I'll do whatever you want. And I don't know what's wrong with me, where that dichotomy is. But yeah, so CAD applications, I'll just get used to it. Another great CAD application is LeoCAD, which you can do Lego stuff. I think I've talked about this before also. And that one's also different too. So you get all kinds of screwed up when you jump between the three of them. But yeah, good times.
Gotcha. Daniel, jump right in there. Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
You're still muted.
It sounded good though.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Okay, assuming that nobody else had anything to say about CAD, I had another topic.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go.
All right, sure. Well, actually two, and the first one was just a real quick announcement I heard, and I was kind of excited about it. So does anybody like have a NAS at home or use FreeNAS? Have a FreeBSD server?
Pick me.
Okay.
Yeah, have FreeNAS.
So yeah, FreeNAS has FreeNAS has unveiled their plans for a TrueNAS scale coming sometime in the future, which will be a FreeNAS or TrueNAS version based on Debian instead of on FreeBSD.
Yep.
So like you can use the infrastructure you're familiar with. However, I did notice it said it was like powered by Gluster or something. So I'm not sure if it will actually use ZFS.
Oh, so it might be
because
Gluster
I know that
FS.
GlusterFS, I've heard them talk about it on self-hosted, and it's like a fuse thing that you use on Linux to sort of pretend you have a fancy file system like ZFS or ButterFS. I don't really know about it.
I don't either, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah, and then the other thing was a stopgap. I saw, just chanced upon it on the FreeBSD forums, that there is a way now to run a Linux jail. It has to be systemd-less, but so a Linux jail, so Devuan or whatever, on FreeBSD, and the jails are kind of like their version of Lexi.
Yep.
So, like, if you wanted to run something like a Jellyfin, or just pick your thing of choice that doesn't run on FreeBSD natively yet, then there's that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's really cool. Like, I have FreeNAS, so I'm using the FreeBSD version, and they have some plugins, they call them, which are kind of they're just jails. But so some of those are in there, like Plex, I'm pretty sure is, and NB, and I have GitLab. I'm using the GitLab plugin, and that's pretty awesome. And they all just seem to kind of work, so it's pretty great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to giving that a try when they actually move to Debian. I think that's pretty cool.
They won't be moving per se.
Well, I
like,
know, but
TrueNAS core will still be FreeBSD based. TrueNAS
Yes.
scale will be another thing.
I guess what I meant to say was I'll be looking forward to when they add it to Debian. Yeah, as an addition, not a move. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Thomas.
Oh, it's off topic. Just when you guys get done.
I'm good. Go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah.
Unbox it, man. Bring it out. Let's do it.
Okay. So, for those of you who don't know, my mother has an older Windows 8 laptop, and she was needing to upgrade. So we got a new laptop today. Lenovo Yoga. Where's the thingamajigger? C74015IML, whatever all that gibberish means. Oh, hello, Mother.
This is live, folks.
Yes, it is. So I figured I would unbox it for you guys, for those who like the hardware,
Sure.
So
Do you know what hardware is?
Yeah, let us know what it's got.
So it's got a Intel Core i7 10510U, base clock of 1.8 gigahertz, boost of 2.3, 12 gigabytes of RAM. I'm assuming DDR4 because of how new it is.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Definitely DDR4.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, hopefully. I don't know if it's soldered or if it has replaceable SODIMMs. I'm hoping replaceable SODIMMs so I can upgrade it to 16 gigs later.
Right.
It has a 512 gigabyte SSD, and according to my research, it's an M.2 SSD. I don't know if it's NVMe. We'll see. And it also has a 32 gigabyte Optane SSD.
Wow.
Nice. Integrated graphics, unfortunately, but she doesn't need a dedicated graphics card. Full HD HDR IPS panel with touchscreen. And for the one that everybody here is going to absolutely hate, it's going to be running Windows 10.
Doesn't drive here.
My justification for this is that it will run Linux at some point. Either I will convince her to eventually run Linux, because I've been trying to talk her into it for a while.
Hi, Mom.
They say hi.
Hi. I want to play with my toy.
She's going to help me unbox it.
He says, "Hurry up and open that thing."
Talk. I'm listening.
Okay. It will either run Linux when she upgrades to a new computer, and at which point I will install Linux on it because she won't be using it anymore. Or I will eventually talk her into running Linux. She'll realize how much she's been missing and finally see the light and get me to install Linux for her. So one of the two. So let's see. Foam, get out of the way. Bad foam. Well, actually, good foam. Thank you for protecting it. You're not needed anymore. Alrighty. Hopefully, we have a peel for you guys somewhere in here. Yes.
Thomas, your mistake was you told her Windows 10 is on it. You should have just put Mint or something else on.
Yeah,
my
you
wife
should have
has
said-
Mint on her work laptop, and she has Windows on her work desktop at her office. And I said, so how you liking Mint? She goes, she didn't know the difference. She
Nice.
actually said she didn't know the
My
difference.
mother is unfortunately too smart to pull that on.
And
My mother back in the day took RPG and COBOL classes in college.
yeah.
Unfortunately, she doesn't remember any of it, but she is tech savvy enough to be able to tell the difference between Linux and Windows. So
Oh, there you go.
Not if you
I
design it
can't
to
pull
look
that
like
on her.
Windows 10.
Yeah, I know, and you totally
Windows
can.
11. Windows
Well,
11
it's sitting right
dropped.
next to you. You've got to
Well-
say that.
Windows
why
9.
doesn't she? Why does she not like Linux? Let's go with that.
She can't run Microsoft Office. What other reasons do you not like Linux? And now you can't run.
365.
Yeah, Office
Does she run-
365.
Actually, you can run
She can run
365.
that.
on
You
Windows,
can run.
right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do that.
We'll see.
You
I'm
can even get
slowly,
Internet Explorer now.
I'm
Yeah.
slowly
Edge.
convincing her to try
Microsoft Edge.
because
Yeah.
I have been training her how to use Kden Live, GIMP, Inkscape. She'll probably learn Audacity here at some point. But
All great
What
tools.
you'll find is when she just GIMP alone, GIMP will open up like 10 times faster
oh yeah,
initializing than it will do on Windows. That's one of my wife's big complaints about GIMP.
Yeah,
it's a 2-in-1.
I'll agree with that. Definitely.
Yeah, you
This-
can't expect GNU to target Windows.
Well, no, they don't.
you-
Right? Yeah,
I know you
exactly.
All right. So yes, it's a 2-in-1.
Wow, look how small that is. How thin.
I'm a trainer with Boy Scouts of America.
So Thomas,
So
I don't think
this
you're.
will be perfect for some of the smaller trainings I do.
I'd be shocked if you can open that sucker up and upgrade the RAM.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
Well, I
but
can't
don't know.
open it up because it's I think they're torque security bits.
Yeah,
but
at
I
that
actually
thickness,
have
it's probably soldered.
I actually have
That's
these,
probably
so
why
I
you
can
got
at
the
least
12.
open it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might be able to. I might not be able to.
It'll
It'll get
probably be
opened up
plenty.
here eventually.
It's probably plenty for what she's going to be
For
doing.
her, yeah.
12.
It's literally doubling the amount of RAM she has right now.
Right.
Nice.
So it's
That-
got the same amount of RAM as my server, which
Looks-
is pretty good.
That looks beautiful. It really does.
What's going to happen to the old laptop?
So the current laptop's going to be left alone because this laptop only has 2 USB-C ports and 2 USB-A ports. We need to see if one of these USB-C ports is capable of display output. I actually have an adapter for that I use with my phone and it's supposed to be used with my Rock Pro 64, but it hasn't worked yet. So don't know if that's hardware or software issue. I don't know.
I'm sure one of the
Should be
universal
probably
docks
how
will work.
USB-C is wired up. It's not. It really is not that simple.
Well, I don't know for sure. I think it's a backwards compatibility thing because that USB-C hub supports DisplayPort 1.2, 1.3, and the Rock Pro 64 supports a slightly different version of DisplayPort out. So yeah. Anyway, so yes, there is your thing, and yes, it does charge via USB-C. So unfortunately, I don't think it has Thunderbolt. So
right.
But
USB-C out would be plenty video. You can get any dock or any dongle. We'll give you video all you want. You'll be fine.
No, that's good stuff right
she's
there.
feeling it right.
I love it. Nice looking.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, Thomas.
Yeah,
Of
thank you
course.
very much.
Thank you for letting me show my hardware, whatever you want to call it. Trying to stay family friendly.
All right, thanks.
I did something similar to with my brother a few years ago. Yeah, I'm all Linux. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've been bugging him and teasing him. And then one day he suddenly came and he had bought a new computer, and he asked if I could come home to him and have some dinner and install Linux on the system. So it can happen that if you talk a little about why one should use it from time to time, and not bug them about it. But then they sometimes they will want to try it. And now he's doing all Linux, and yeah, but every time something happens, I have to remote into his system. So I have a server at the data center, and I set up a shell account for him, and he just type a script in the terminal, and I made the bash RC files so that every time he opens the terminal, it just tell him the type this and press enter, and yeah.
Thomas, I have a question. You said it has 2 drives in it, Thomas?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I was going to say, well, one of the things I did is I actually, when I ordered my wife's Lenovo, it's an E570 ThinkPad, and it came with a secondary storage drive. Those only have a 256, I believe, is the size SSD, and you can't, for whatever reason, put a larger one. Lenovo says it doesn't support it. But I wound up buying an SSD, took her mechanical drive out, and that's what I put Mint on. She has Windows on there only because I thought just in case she needs it and she's in the field and she can't access something that is Windows related. So far, she hasn't had anything like that, but she can dual boot into it. So that might be another option for him trying to get her on it to try it a little bit, at least put it on the other drive if she doesn't need the extra storage.
Makes sense, Joe.
I think that other drive was.
It's an Optane drive.
It's an Optane drive.
Yeah, so that's.
Yeah, you can change that. I did that on my HP, but you've got to actually tell you have a choice. You can just blitz the whole thing and pull the Optane out, which I did. But it can also be I don't want to call it disengaged, but just undone in Windows. And then put in another M.2 and MBNE or whatever, and off you go. Because that's what I did.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty easy. So now I have lots of storage on a laptop.
Cool. All right. So one thing that came up in the YouTube chat was from Mitchell Valentino, I believe. He asked, "What does everybody use to sign PDFs?" So, like, if you get a PDF, you got to make a little signature on it. What are you guys using for that? In Linux, of course.
Studio.
What's that?
I use PDF Studio.
PDF
I can
Studio?
do digital signatures, or I have a stamp.
Okay.
That I use that can actually have my signature on it.
Yep.
So for certain statements, I just gotta click, export, done, and then I don't have to worry about it.
Perfect.
So it's a very lazy, and then I have a PKCS 12 certificate that I use as well for other things.
Right.
That just has my name and whatnot. So then I can click and I do my little password thingy and whatever. But yeah, so that's what I've been using.
Okay, good. I know.
I wish it would use smart cards. I wish it was smart card enabled, but it's not. And
That would
I
be
understand
nice.
why, because we can do all those things online. Because I do tech help for the Department of Defense and using smart cards in Linux.
Yeah.
I'm actually the only guy globally.
Wow.
Oh well. Anyway, and so I do answer a lot of questions all the time, helping people out. And so it works with all the military sites, but it doesn't work. And all the infrastructure's there. We can do it, but these application developers don't make that little link. I can't use that. I don't know what the problem is. So I complain annually, about every 6 months to a year. I'll complain to the different manufacturers of commercial PDF software.
Gotcha.
So, but it's gotten nowhere in the last 7 years. So.
Yeah, I know. I've seen elsewhere other people that have used Master PDF. I think is the name, and that's a pretty popular one as well.
I've used that one too.
Okay.
Yeah, Master PDF
that's
editor. There's a
Qt-based.
free version, and then there's a paid version. But I don't know if the signing is there. Do you know, Nate, if the signing is available in Master?
In Master PDF, you can't. I don't believe there's a lot of things that are stripped out functionality wise.
In the free version, right? But the paid
in the
version,
free
I
version,
think
yeah.
You can do it in the paid version.
Okay.
It was
And
so
I think
whatever.
the free version also ends up putting a watermark on the the document, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly.
What I realized though, using the Master PDF, the free version was so irritating. I said, "Here's my $70. I don't want to deal with it." That's what I did.
Yeah. There's WPS PDF too that I was taking a look at, but I never did anything with it. I just looked. It's still on my machine. I forgot it was even there, but I don't think that's the same level of capabilities as the Master PDF editor.
Actually, this is one that Eric Adams told me about, and when he told me about this, I literally slapped myself in the face. LibreOffice handles PDFs.
It will
extremely well.
Yep,
extremely well. It's a little slow, but it does it extremely well, and you can do a lot. I don't know if you can do digital signatures.
Yeah, I don't know if you can either. That's why I didn't suggest it. But I did know that, yeah, it is very, very good with PDFs. You're right.
Excuse my ignorance, but when you say digitally signing, do you mean like a picture of like your physical signature? Or is that like a cryptographic signature, like GPG or something?
See all the above.
Right.
There are like a picture signature. I can do that, or also it's a security certificate, a PKCS 12 certificate that you can sign with as well. It's like a GBG key, basically.
Similar.
Not as GPG, but it's like that, yeah.
It's usually like a timestamp with the encrypted signature.
Right. Yeah.
What I do is I sit on a board in a Unix user group. We have a few hundred members, and we have to each year sign some legal papers. I just print the last page that we need to sign it, and then scan it and send it to someone else on the board who will put all the 5 other members and create one page with all signatures on it. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, everybody's working remote and whatnot, and having to sign things remotely and whatnot. So that, it's a good question. It's good to see. Matt, I see you have your hand up. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna add something just to throw out since we're talking about PDFs and Linux. I know on a couple of podcasts that I listened to for Linux, they've thrown out the idea that Adobe is one of these days going to create a Linux or an open source alternative. Anybody think that's going to happen? I see Barbara shaking her head already, saying no way.
I don't think so.
I kind of doubt it, but I've heard it, so I thought I'd throw it out to this group, see if anybody thinks that would happen someday.
Adobe doesn't make
interviews. They did Photoshop for Linux too. Like don't hold your breath.
Yeah. They interviewed. I forget which show it was, but they interviewed somebody from Adobe, and it was. It's not that they don't want to; it's just the resource involvement in developing for Linux versus the audience. It's like, where do you throw your work? And right now their demand is on Mac and PC or Windows.
Yeah.
The only way I could see them ever doing something with it now would be because you see a lot of these browser-based programs starting to happen. That might be the only possibility I could see it happening with, which I wouldn't rule out 100%, but it comes down to demand,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I guess they're stretched out as far as they can possibly go with what they have. So that's probably not going to happen. Go ahead, Daniel.
One thing about PDFs on Linux that I listened to a podcast called The GNU World Order, and so he's probably not today's typical Linux user. The host isn't. But so he uses Slackware, and his podcast is basically he goes through packages like in the Slackware repositories and finds things to do. And he talked about this one called GhostScript that can do like lots of stuff. And of course, it's just a command line thing. It's not very user friendly, but I needed to do something to a PDF. I was able to do a Google search, and I got a GhostScript command that could do exactly what I needed, and they didn't need to do any weird stuff with line or whatever, but it's very powerful. And I believe it's for working with PostScript, which is like the programming language you send to printers and things.
Yep.
And therefore it can work with PDF, which is like putting PostScript in a container.
Yeah. Okay.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. All right. What else we got, Joe?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Should look at the doc there. I think we covered it all.
Maybe we did.
Anybody got anything else they want to talk about? We got like 11 minutes. Anything cool?
Yeah.
Did anybody try to I know you guys talked about it, or it was talked about the last couple of weeks, and Colin did a video on it. Is it Ventoy or something?
Yeah,
like that?
Ventoy. We did talk about that a
Yeah, we
little bit.
discussed that just a little while ago.
We did.
Yeah, what do you
Okay,
think,
'cause
Joe?
I know I came in late. I was wondering if
Yes.
you talked
Yeah.
about that.
That's okay. What do you think,
He
Joe?
kind of scared me with his warning a little bit out there. So I thought, well, maybe we're trying a machine that's not my main one first.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty great.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of good success with it. So
Yeah, it looks very interesting. I guess it's just he was just cautioning on the side of when you're if you don't grab the wrong data.
Who was that?
Well, he
Colin.
said when you set up
Oh.
your USB or whatever, that because it could potentially still wipe data on your other drives or whatever. So, and that holds true with anything that you use when you're trying to do something on your current drives.
Yeah.
But it's not like Colin to put this big warning up normally. So I thought, well, maybe I better just be a little bit more cautious with it.
Yeah, I've
But
never
it looked
done.
fantastic once you got it running. It seemed pretty easy.
I've never nuked the wrong drive before. Never happened.
I don't know what that is.
No.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever did a kernel panic either by updating to a kernel they shouldn't have either, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, none of that's ever
You
happened.
know, that's one thing
Yeah, I
I
don't know
want
what
to
you're
point
talking
out.
about.
I don't remember who was talking about it, or I think it was actually. I take that back. I think it was. I didn't get to go on English Bob's Friday show that he was on, and I know they were talking about it, and I heard Sergey talk about with using UKUU to upgrade a kernel of Mint, and I will definitely err on the caution of that because I had to use that, and I've nuked my system with that.
Yeah,
Mint
that can be
does
bad.
not like advancing kernels past what they put out. I will tell you that right now, and that's what I'm on is Mint for a year and a half. And anytime I ever try, and let me back up a step. That could also be my hardware too, because particularly what it does is it plays with my graphics. You know, I've got a 1660 Super in here, and anytime I try to advance to a newer kernel than what Mint has out, it plays havoc with my graphics. They get like there's nothing in there. I mean, like there's no drivers in it. Everything's super large, and so I would be very cautious to not use that.
Yeah, you got to be careful with it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Just install the snap. That'll fix it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I see Matt has got his hand up. Let's try to get Matt in there.
I was just wondering if anybody was going to check out that Foss Talk Live. I think that's on UK time. So I guess I'm not sure what our difference is I'm in central US, but.
Well, this would be the middle of the night for them right now.
Is it the middle of the night for them?
Yeah, for them.
They're probably still
for
going.
UK.
Okay, might be still going then.
Yeah, maybe.
That was the only thing I was going to throw out. I knew that was coming up, but I wasn't sure on the time.
Okay. Yeah, no, I not up on the time on that either, but yeah, definitely check it out. Foss Talk. Always very popular.
Yeah,
Vince, go ahead.
3:53 a.m. here. So.
Okay, thanks. Vince, get your hand
Oh,
up.
just something quick to add on that PDF signing thing. I knew that you could use Scribus, you know, that desktop publishing package.
Okay.
I think it's Foss as well. You can use it to work with PDFs, but I just looked on their wiki and it says that you can even digitally sign your PDFs with Scribus as well. So
Okay.
you can look into that.
Awesome. Cool.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's nice to see some options. Alrighty. What else we got, Joe?
I think that's it, guys. I think
so
we've
too.
gone through it. Did everybody catch Linux Spotlight this week? Rocco had
Mark DeLuzio.
Mark DeLuzio on. He works with what, Unity, right? Unity engine.
Yes, and
yeah.
Yeah,
very cool stuff. I'm not sure who he's got coming up. Just as a reminder, you know, he's switching over to a little bit slower cadence, so that way he can really put the focus on the video and audio and stuff. So I'm not sure when his next show will be. And
yep, I'm not sure either. I do think he has the next one recorded, but I could be wrong about that. And so, yeah, look forward to that always. Every episode. Very good.
All right.
All right. Well, why don't we run around the room and do the last word then? Joe, thank you very much for being the co-host, and appreciate all the help.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for jumping in today. This was I know this was we found out at what 3 o'clock, 3 something. I don't know.
This afternoon, late
Yeah.
maybe.
So yeah. Anyways, appreciate you jumping in, Dan, for that. But also just everybody being here. It's fun. This is a good forum for us. It's nice to come chat and feel like we're hanging out and just talk about various subjects. And look forward to next week. And we'll talk to you all later. Everybody be safe.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Jason, last word.
I just want to say, first of all, thank you to the both of you, Dan and Joe, for filling in for Rocco and giving us an update on what was going on with him. And I just want to say, I love coming in here and just hanging out with you guys and learning some new stuff about Linux and seeing what's going on with you guys. You guys have yourselves a great night, and thanks for putting us on.
All right. Thanks, Jason. Tony, last word.
Yes, it's installed.
Nice. That's awesome.
Did we do that? Did we talk about next week? Sorry, Tony.
We did Ubuntu Cinnamon remix.
Okay, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a good show. Thanks to Dan and Joe for filling in for Rocco when he's not well. I'm sure you'll watch this at some point, Rocco. Just want to say to you to take care of yourself and get well soon. If you've got what I think you've got, then you have my sympathy, because I've been there and done that, and it's no fun. But it is a fairly quick fix. Hopefully it was for me. Let's hope it is for you. So everybody else, take care. Look after yourselves until next week. And I look forward to seeing you same time, same place.
All right. Thanks, Tony. Nate, last word.
Thanks everyone for being here and having a little nerdy discussion and talking Linux. It's nice, and thanks Dan for stepping up. Appreciate it. And Joe, this is the first time we've actually both been on together. That's kind of fun. So yeah, I'll see you next week.
All right, thanks, Nate. Joshua, last word.
Hello, thank you, Dan and Joe, for taking over the covers while Rocco is away. I don't know where he's at. If he's sick, I hope he gets better. Thank you all for coming today. It was definitely fun talking about Ubuntu DDE. Special thanks to Aaron and everyone helping out back there. And I'll see you next week for UCR.
All right, thanks. Look forward to it. Thomas, last word.
Well, thanks for having me on. I hope everybody enjoyed the hardware unboxing. My keyboard has randomly decided to change layouts, and I have no idea what's going on, so I'm going to try a reboot and see if that fixes it.
All right, gotcha. Jinda, last word.
Well, Rocco, and everybody, for tomorrow, happy Father's Day if you're a father, and if you're not, go yell at your father. And everybody have a good week. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks. Barb, last word.
Well, thank you, Dan and Joe, for standing in for Rocco. Rocco, get better. We miss you. But Dan and Joe did a really good job. So you might have to be worried about his.
He has nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about.
I just thought I'd say it. You're
Can't wait to
missing
give
the
it back.
open sign.
I know. I don't have one of those over here. Yeah,
Yep.
no.
Yeah, you need one. And at least you would probably have it running on a Raspberry Pi.
Oh, I'd have something automated for sure.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so Rocco, get better. And everybody else, thanks. This was great. You guys are my virtual lug. And see you all next week.
All right, awesome. Thanks for being here, Barb.
You're welcome.
Obu.
Yeah, just a little in closing, a tidbit about trashing a system due to an error. Linux almost didn't happen when Linus Torvalds had said in a few talks that the one time that he actually considered stop doing it was when he was still developing on Minix, and when he was trying to dial out to the university system back in '91. He dialed the hard drive instead, and he actually considered stop doing it. But he said that the only thing that kept him going was that he had already spent a few months getting it to work. So the world could have been a lot different than it is now.
All right, thanks. Karen says you're not speaking, but I don't know if you want to get a last word in there.
He's not speaking.
Not speaking.
Dan, have you seen the ice cream sundae that we are sending to YouTube right now?
Yeah, it's a beautiful rainbow.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah,
I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it's like Neapolitan ice cream. Yeah, right. Yeah. I see that. Anyway, it's not looking like that on my screen, so I don't know. But anyway, I'm pretty sure I'm using all of my bandwidth.
Every bit.
Daniel, go ahead. Last word.
Right. Thanks, Dan and Joe, for hosting this week. And Rocco, get well soon. Also, thanks to everybody for the virtual lug experience. See everyone next week.
All right, thanks. Vince, last word.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Dan and Joe as well. And I see that you're helping as well, Nate. Rocco, get better. We miss you so much. A few other people we miss as well, of course. Eric, Zeb, guys. We'll see you when we see you. I really enjoyed today again, and hope to see you next week. Oh, and I just figured out what UCR stood for.
Yeah, Ubuntu Cinnamon Remix. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Vince. MC, last word.
Hey, hopefully Rocco gets better. Hopefully he gets on the mend on that. And again, Dan and Joe, good job tonight. And thank everyone for showing up. Great job. Like Barbara said, I love hanging out with everybody in the virtual lug. And see you guys next week to talk about UCR.
All right, thanks.
Now that I know what it means.
Joe. Joe, last word.
Well, thanks for a great night, you guys. Dan, it's wonderful for you and Joe filling in. You guys did a great job. Sorry to hear that Rocco is not well. It always pains us when one of ours is not well. We all feel it, I think, even though we're miles apart. For those celebrating Father's Day tomorrow, I hope you have a happy, healthy, and blessed day, and with your family, and just that everybody stays safe and well with everything that's going on, and try to keep your sanity. This weekly show is really a phenomenal outlet for this, to be able to just talk geek or talk whatever, and no judging, and everybody just has a good time, and I really appreciate that. And so have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon, I guess. Take care, guys and gals.
All right, thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Matt, last word.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's always good to catch up with everybody as I can. And sorry to hear that Rocco's under the weather. Hope he gets better soon. Actually, happy Father's Day to everyone that applies to. And I just want to throw this out. I know Vince had talked to me one time about virtualization in local chat, and that if you're looking for a topic for a future show, that would be one I'd be very interested in. Would be some chat on virtualization, running VMs through Linux.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I mean, we all run them, or well, many of us do anyway, to test different distros. So yeah, sounds like a great idea. Dave Jones, last word.
Thanks, Dan and Joe, for holding the fort in Rocco's absence. Rocco, get well. Hope to see you soon. I want to thank the developers of Ubuntu DDE. I know it's a work in progress, but it shows some real potential, and I can't wait until 2010 to see what improvements they make to it. And everyone, happy Father's Day.
All right, thanks, Dave. Paul, are you there? And if so, last word. Okay.
I'm waiting for that thing to come to life.
I know. Can't tell, right?
He did blink. He did blink.
He's
He did say something he had problems.
Oh, no, he moved. Yep.
He had,
I think he's on a video.
He's got it on
It's a
video
loop.
loop back.
It's a loop. Yeah.
Paul.
He must have been on it, or seen briefly earlier,
He
because
was.
I saw him look to the side, which he hadn't done the whole time
Right.
I was on here.
Yes.
I thought maybe you're just trying to blink us a code there.
No, he's looking at our ice cream sundae on the YouTube feed.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks everybody for being here, and thanks for your patience. Appreciate it. Rocco, please get better and come back and take over. And I have an appreciation for what you do every week. I know you say you just hit the button, but there's more to it than that. I'm just going to say. Thanks to the Ubuntu DDE developers and for all the work they do. That's come a long way, and it's looking good. And I look forward to the next release. I think that's it. I don't think I missed anything, did I, Joe?
No, I think you're good. We
All
just
right.
got to end it on.
All right, so we'll see you next week. But until then,
Yep.
long live Linux. Night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.